at Jimmy's house. Now, when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Hey, welcome to People's Radio United, the People's Weekly Show. I'm here with Canadian Glenn. What's up, Glenn?
Buenos dias.
Welcome back.
Oh, thanks. I'm sure you guys did just fine without me.
We had a tangent extravaganza last week. It was wondrous. Me and Nolan talked about pretty much anything except the subjects we were supposed to talk about. I think we touched on them quickly. But yeah, so this coming up in just a few days, we're gonna have music to riot to. The first episode will be "Fuck the Police" themed. I'm just finishing up artwork, and then it should be out hopefully Sunday or Monday. And what's going on with you up here?
Well, there ain't too much planned out in advance, you know. That would be too logical or something. But no, I'm just going week to week, see what comes up, see who's available. You know, December historically is not the best time to try and get guests. Everybody's got something to do, somewhere to travel to. But, whatever. Just keep going.
Whatever, just keep going.
I do believe, though, on December 24th will be the 8th anniversary of me making an account on Blog Talk Radio.
Wow. What day is this? We should send you some cake. That's awesome. 8 years, wow. We're going on 3 here. That's like in next year in October or August.
Well, I mean, that's going to, you know, you can say, wow, 8 years ago, but you think about what was going on then, and in some ways it seems like 28 years ago. Things have changed so much.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, back then I was listening to Vince in the Bay, and I was listening to Talkupy, and I was listening to the Wagoner Group. You know, and they're all fucking long gone.
Wow. Things change.
Yep.
Bigly, quickly. So yeah, you want to get started on the topic so we can get this show over with? Because as the people might notice, I have another cold because it's like a zombie movie here. Like everywhere I'm at, somebody's sneezing, sniffling, and I mean cashiers at stores, people at gas stations, people everywhere I'm at. So it's inevitable.
Well, that must be partly because of the fine social system you have in the United States, you know, where nobody can stay home when they're sick because they'll get fired.
Yeah, and then cost of healthcare too. So yeah, the first, you know, we 2 weeks ago when you were on the show, we were lied to. We were talking about the troops are getting pulled back. Or was it last week? I don't know, because we were told the troops were going to get pulled off the Mexican border so we wouldn't have soldiers with guns and stuff over there. But it seems we were lied to. They were only pulling about 1,000 troops from the border. The rest of the troops were told not to expect to be home for the holidays. That means Genocide Day, or Thanksgiving as they call it, Christmas and New Year, and probably for Hanukkah and whatever else for the other non-Christian. But yeah, so up until New Year, we're going to have troops on the border. And this means there's still a chance of horrible violence as the migrants come across the border. One got over yesterday and was arrested immediately. It's really scary. Like, I can't remember ever having I mean, I've had troops in the streets here, but not like, oh, we're going to guard a border, and we're told that if anyone throws rocks to shoot them dead, and think of it as a weapon, like we're IDF soldiers, and the immigrants are Palestinians.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's making Nogales sound like fucking Gaza.
Yeah, we've made that comparison before, and here I think you were the one that did it, and everyone agreed. It's. I mean, we send our police to train over there.
Yep.
We sent our police to train with soldiers. Well, that should tell you something right there.
Oh, the NYPD has a office in Tel Aviv for whatever reason.
Because the terrorists are going to kill us all. They're coming from all over. I mean, look at all these foreign-born terrorists that have been killing us over the last months. Oh, wait. None of them were foreign-born.
Nope.
We were just told they were.
Well,
We were told that foreign-born terrorists are a threat, when really domestic terrorism is a much bigger threat. That's why domestic terrorism is so important. I wish these Nazis would get off it. Like oh man, it's just so too many Nazis, so little time.
We've talked about it here before, this whole thing about regular troops at the southern border. It's just to enable a big game. And, this ramped up before the midterms. It's still going on. We know the House is going to change in January. So, considering the orange sissy in charge, well, we'll just keep blowing millions of dollars a day, and we'll keep them there until the new House comes in and they say, what the fuck are you doing? Send these soldiers back to base. It's just spite. Let's see how much money I can blow before the teacher says, go sit down.
I don't know why these soldiers don't just refuse. Like, you know what? We're not doing this stupid stuff. We're not going here. We're not going to kill for you. We're not. I mean, publicly say, you know what? If they throw rocks, they throw rocks. That's why we have all this gear and stuff, because rocks won't even affect us.
Yeah, but the only people that regular G.I. Joe can say that to is his family, and he's being listened to, and his mail's being read. So, you joined the Shithead Club. The rules of Shithead Club are don't talk poorly about Shithead Club.
Yeah, I mean, they can't lock every soldier up.
No, but they only have to lock up one or two, and the rest will get the message. Because Leavenworth ain't no country club.
Yeah, I guess. That's true.
There's a lot of these guys that, who knows, they might be from Alaska or Minnesota or Wisconsin, and they have to go spend December down in the desert and get paid and sit on their ass. It beats going to Iraq.
That's true. I think of it that way. It just seems so ridiculous, man. Like, if you have these soldiers and you need all these army people and all this for some reason, which we don't, then you can just train them and let them do whatever they do unless there's a war, unless someone attacks us here. Like, unless you're going to send them out on humanitarian efforts without guns and stuff, that would be fine. But we don't ever do that.
No.
So, I mean, it's like the police in LA helping people. We're here to help. You came with guns. How are you not intimidating? How are you helping? Doesn't make any sense to me. If I show up at your door with a gun, like, say you're starving and you need some food, but you're a little bit out the way and it's hard to get to you. So we come in a big helicopter. We show up at your door with all these guns. Like, what the hell is that even for? Why not just come with food?
Well, I definitely feel helped if people in body armor and semi-automatic weapons come to my door and say they're there to help me.
Yeah, exactly. I got to release a lot of videos. I've been slacking on that. I got months worth of videos I haven't released yet. But yeah, so many of them, you'll see the police just standing ominously over these homeless people. Some got their hands on their gun, just resting. They're not
Yeah.
threatening, quote unquote. We're here to help them. Why do you need the guns? And then they don't want to answer all this stuff. It's like, who are you going to look to and say, oh, these people are here to help? People coming with crates of supplies and organizations that could help you and lists of things to contact and do, or someone coming with weapons standing over you. You got to move your stuff now, or we're gonna throw it all away. That's not really helping. The new, I passed by the new. I know this is off subject, but I passed by they have these new homeless shelters that are talking about in downtown that are so great and doing so much to end homelessness. And it's a couple trailers, dude, like these bungalow trailers, like they have on high schools here sometimes, or they used to anyway. And they have, you can see through the windows. They have like these partition dividers, like office dividers.
Mm-hmm.
So each one or two people get a few feet in there, and all night long they have a cop sitting out there watching. And then these people have curfews and all. I mean, like you can't. It's ridiculous, dude. It's like I don't know. It just seems like it's so stupid. You got all these empty buildings in downtown. They're building more and more high class luxury housing. And once all this is done eventually and it's fully gentrified, which is a long way from right now, but give it 5 or 10 years, where are these people going to go? It just doesn't make sense. Once you build
Well,
one of these luxury apartments, maybe not so luxury, and say, look, we're just going to let people live here who can't afford to live anywhere else.
well, that would obviously be prevented. You can't do that. You can't do anything in the United States unless your goal is to make profit. If your goal is to make profit, you can just about do anything you want. That's justification. I'm looking to generate income. Oh, well, have at her. Is there anything we can do to help you out with that?
If you need some people killed or moved or punished, it doesn't matter. We'll do it for you. Yeah.
Money talks.
Yeah, it's just like a joke, dude.
Well, I did see some decision yesterday. I think it was a state Supreme Court somewhere determined that it is unconstitutional to arrest people for feeding the homeless. So see how many more years it takes before that shit gets rolled back.
Yeah, a lot of people have been arrested and stopped. And did you see there was a video not that long ago where the cops came and poured bleach on all the food so nobody could eat it?
Yeah.
Hello, Nix is in the chat. Hello, Nix. So yeah,
Strange timing there. I mean, Florida is just ridiculous for this sort of you're not allowed to help anybody thing. I just don't get it at all.
yeah, it's because these people. I mean, I've seen these meetings, man. These people come and they don't want these people living anywhere in their neighborhood. They want to get them out of their neighborhood. So like, let's build a shelter over here. But people don't want to live in shelters. I've talked to people. They don't want to live in shelters. They want to live where they can be free to live their lives. So it's almost more free just to be on the street than where, oh, if I get a job, I can't work after certain hours because I have to curfew. I'm going to be tested. I'm going to have all this. I'm going to have all this, all these rules and regulations. Just let people live their lives. If they're not hurting anyone else, leave them alone. I don't know how hard that is, but it seems really hard for people to grasp that concept.
That's because that's not the intent of people. People with money want to control other people. It's one of the perks.
I mean, there's immigrants here that are homeless as well. People don't ever talk about that. They're always like, they're taking our jobs and this and that. Yeah, a lot of them are coming here and still homeless. But they're not under the U.S. created threats over there from gangs and cartels and everything else, who just run amok. So it's better to be homeless here than maybe not knowing if you're going to live or die in your own country, just trying to go somewhere and you don't have the fines to pay to get, you know what I mean? The taxes these gangs want to put on you.
How is that any different from being homeless in the United States? I mean,
Well,
in the U.S., it's the fucking cops.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
You know? I mean, so I mean, you know, this is the distinction that is just so accepted, but it's not really much of a distinction. So death squads in Guatemala or Nicaragua dress in street clothes, but in the United States and in Russia and in the People's Republic of China and in Poland and in Hungary, they wear uniforms, but it's the same shit. You know?
Yep. Judith posed in the chat. Hi, Judith. And Nick says, yeah, a lot of food, not bombs litigation in Florida to prevent feeding the homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so stupid. Like I said, I've seen these police on video pour bleach in people's food so they couldn't pass it out. People have been arrested for trying to feed people.
And of course, it's authorities who do this. And if it was somebody else who poured bleach on donation food, then they could probably get charged.
Well, attempted murder or something, yeah.
Yeah, depending how insane the district attorney is, that could almost be a terror crime. But if the cops do it, it's cool. It's the right thing.
Yeah, if you're an armed soldier pouring bleach on people's food, it's okay. You're doing it for all the right reasons, we're sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but I don't know how we got here from the troops at the border. It was probably me. But yeah, like I said, I hope you're right. I hope there's not going to be some tragic, terrible event that takes place. Trump just the other day said, we're not letting anyone cross. What does that mean?
Blah, blah, blah. That's what it means. I'm making noise. Look at me. Fucking idiot.
Yeah, man.
But let's not forget that here at the end of the year, there's a big changeover in power in Mexico as well. I mean, that was part of the reason that the USMCA trade deal had to be signed by November 30th, because on December 1st, Nieto lost a lot of his presidential powers. And they're passing over to AMLO. And they wanted to make sure that Mexico's name was on the dotted line before they changed presidents. So we'll see what else happens. I mean,
yeah.
You know, this is the other thing that I don't understand, and maybe because it's just not talked about in the United States, but it's not like Mexico is this tin-pot little third banana republic that you can push around as much as you want. Like, that's just simply not true. You know? I mean, Mexico has double the people of Canada. It's got a bigger military than Canada. And we know how important Mexico is to the American economy. So, you know, I mean, there may come a point in time when Mexico just says, you know what, we've had enough of your bullshit for a while, and we're going to shut things down. See how you deal with it.
That would be classic.
You bet it would be.
Yeah, I mean, there's that one little quote-unquote problem with Mexico that Canada doesn't have. Not so many whites there. And if you know anything about the U.S. government, they love the whites.
Well, they're fine people on both sides.
If both sides have whites.
Exactly. That's what counts.
Any shade darker than white, He could be a terrorist, a rapist, a murderer.
MS-13.
MS-13. They're all MS-13. Oh my God! I think we talked about it before. These idiots are. I wish I would have thought of it. You go to rich people and tell them MS-13 is coming. We need to build you bunkers, and they'll pay all kinds of money to build these bomb shelters so MS-13 gangbangers can't get to them.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you made a deal with one of these televangelists to cut them in for 20%, I bet you'd do some kick-ass business.
That's even cheaper. You don't have to build a shelter. You just have to pray.
Oh, no. God wants you to have a shelter.
Oh, okay.
And they start at $10,000.
Oh, I thought you just we could pray MS-13 away. The prayer starts at $10,000.
No. Oh, no. Well, I mean, you can pay that too, sure, but, you should have a shelter. God wants you to have a shelter.
As long as it's not in my church. Remember that Osteen dude during the flood? He's like, we can't let anyone in because it's flooded. And there was no flood. It was like 2 puddles. And then finally he let people in. These people are scum too. I think one of them the other day was on TV talking about these stupid sinners don't understand why I need a private jet. And it costs so many millions of dollars. And if we find life on Mars, they're not going to understand why I'm going to need billions of dollars for a spaceship.
Well, it's almost a direct reflection of the old South Park episode with Starvin' Marvin and the missionaries and them going on their religious TV channels and asking for money so they could build a Class 3 galactic cruiser because the other network has one, and, it's just stupid.
The big takeaway from that was when the missionaries came and they said, you need to speak English, the language of God.
That's about it. And I mean, even that in itself, I believe the Roman Catholic Church spoke a different language for hundreds of years. I believe it was called Latin. But, I guess once God became an American, then his language became English or American.
Exactly.
What a fucking joke.
I don't think God speaks the Queen's English.
Oh, no, I can't see it. Not that God.
Oh, man.
But as far as the troops go, whatever, man. They're a stunt. They were from the day they got there. The crowds were bigger a month ago than they are now. They didn't kill anybody then, so...
It's just a really dangerous, deadly, possibly deadly stunt, It's very worrisome. Because whatever you think, these are human beings just like you, me, and any of the listeners coming across the border. No matter what language they speak, they're just families trying to get somewhere to a better life. And if stuff went crazy here, it's already started. People will be heading toward your country, Glenn. And then we're the dirty, filthy invasion of rapists and murderers. And that might be more true, actually, than than what they're saying here.
Yeah, well, now you're starting to sound like a Canadian. But I mean, there's been some other things that have happened as well. I mean, look at this CBP asswipe that's been arrested for being a serial killer of Latino women. I mean, the CBP and ICE have faded from the news because they've been caught doing some pretty, really, really stupid shit in the last 2 months. And it's easy for the media to do another 2-minute piece about the troops at the border, but yet it's CBP who's there every day. They're the ones who've been corrupting and extorting and doing criminal acts for years. So if we can talk about the army sitting in their tents playing fucking Nintendo for a while instead of CBP, that works too. They're just a prop. It's a massively expensive prop. It's sad, you know, it's too bad that, I mean, you know, when Vietnam happened, the government said, okay, we're never going to allow this kind of access to the media again. Because, you know, I was a little kid, and I can remember, even up here, when there was 6 o'clock national news, you'd see video from the fields in Vietnam every day. And that had never happened before. And then the Iraq War, and then, you know, the Pentagon opened up their own production studios. We used to see Schwarzkopf showing us a bomb hitting a building. No idea where it is, what it was, whatever, but look how good we are. And then, quote-unquote, embedded journalists. But yet, nobody gets to talk to the guys in the field, ever. It's just not allowed. You know, like Dan Rather and guys like that back in Vietnam, they'd be out in the field with a film camera and a corded microphone on a trail, and they would stop.
Yeah,
Members of
that was before they had PR officers in the army and the police and everything. I mean, they have like literal offices of PR to have people. Like you have to, like when you come to LAPD sometimes and there's a big event going on, sometimes they're like, you have to talk to the PR guy because he's going to spin it the right way.
Yeah, well, you remember that when the Soviet Union started doing this in the 1920s, it was the most evil thing there could ever be. My God, what a bunch of godless heathens. How come nobody looks at this shit the same way? Because it's the same goddamn purpose.
Trump said a couple of weeks ago he doesn't understand why the government doesn't have its own news station because of all the quote-unquote fake news.
Yeah, right. You mean like China does?
Exactly. Like every dictatorship has.
Unbelievable, man.
North Korea has one too, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, state-run TV. So, yeah, you want to move on? Because we're off the border thing. We keep going on tangents.
Well, I just want to say there's a big difference between state-owned media and government-owned media. Big difference.
Yeah, well, when I say the state, I don't mean California. I mean the state is a big government. I just said the state.
But, I mean, this is a phenomenon we're seeing now. I mean, it's obvious that Fox is GOP TV. And in Canada, the same thing is happening. Something called The Rebel. And it is just absolute flashlight. And the idiot that is now in charge in the province of Ontario, he is using tax dollars to fund a news outlet that, of course, is 100% this government rocks, fuck everybody else. So, I mean, it's happening. And you know, the only difference is it directly government funded or is it the government's friends? Because Turkey, I mean, you can name 100 countries where this shit's going on now.
Well, you know what the problem is? We have what is it? NBC, MNBC, whatever it is. I can't think right now. And then we have Fox. And you have one's all for Democrats, 100%. One's all for Republicans. But the problem with them is, I think, they don't bash the other people about policy or anything because they're both kind of doing the same terrible things. So they'll be like, oh, Obama wore the wrong color suit and ate his hot dog wrong or something. And Trump might be illiterate and he's a fool and he does this and that. But they never really get down to the why these people are so horrible. And, you know, because both of them, it's all entertainment, man, at the end of the day.
That's it. It's infotainment.
Exactly. Like our next topic is kind of funny, but I mean, it's... What about Trump isn't funny? I mean, it's so disgusting, but it's like, look at him. He's a clown. He looks like a clown. He acts like a clown. So, in that, you want to move on?
All right.
We're going to take a minute to talk about Trump's trip to Argentina and him being the laughingstock of the world to the point he was being laughed at by other world leaders again. Then he ran off the stage screaming, "Get me out of here." Let's also talk after this about his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, the head of United States cybersecurity, who doesn't even know what a hyperlink is. So there's a lot in there. But yeah, I don't know. Did you see the video of Trump meeting with the Argentinian president? He got his photo out. Then he just kind of rushes off the stage and some dude chases him. And his mic was still hot. He's like, "Get me out of here. Get me out of here." True alpha male, right?
I don't even know where to start.
Man, he goes up there and you hear, what was this? I don't remember. It might have been in France, or maybe it was in Argentina. There's been a couple of these conferences he's been at. He was saying something. He was up there talking about how great he was. He might just be the best president the United States ever had. And the other world leaders are like blatantly laughing at him.
Yep. Well, it's just like when he went to the UN, the one and only time he'll have the balls to go to the UN. You know, I mean, face it. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you like the system, if you hate the system, if you want to burn the system down. There's only one system at a time. This is the one we're stuck with. And a place like the UN is where, like, all the directors of the leagues in every country come for the Olympic tournament type thing, you know? I mean, there's a lot of people that say the UN's useless, the UN is this, it's that, fine, whatever. But when you're there, you should generally follow the rules. If you want to get any advancement for something you're trying to get done, or if you're trying to get people on your side, I mean, it's the UN. There's people there from all over the world, and it's not just Joe Blow. It's people who have shit on the line for their country, for whatever. That's why they're there. And for this clown to show up and turn it into an infomercial about himself, like, go sit down, you fucktard. We don't have time for this. This is the United Nations. It's not Yokoloko, Tennessee, where you flew in to have a rally. You know? Like, get your shit together.
I don't know if he understands the difference.
That's the problem. There is no difference. I mean, it's like a 4-year-old. If you take a 4-year-old to an outdoor playground, or you take a 4-year-old to somebody's basement, if the toys are there, it's the same goddamn place to the kid.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he's
you know?
just, yeah. He's, like, I gotta admit, it's just funny. He just wanders around. He had to take a car across the street because he couldn't walk the other day. He fell asleep at the funeral. It's like, what is this guy doing? He talks so much crap about everyone else, so lazy and dishonest and incompetent. All he does is golfs and sleeps and eats and watches TV, and then he oh my gosh, like everything he says is just projection.
Well, I did enjoy the memes of MBS and Putin shaking hands at the G20 with Trump in the background, all pissed off. I mean, that's just it, you know? This guy thinks that his shit don't stink, and he's such a minor league player in this game. He has no experience, you know? I mean, this is the thing, too, about this so-called system we have in the U.S. and in Canada and in most of Europe. How all of a sudden do people that have zero experience ever in government at any level, how the hell are they going to do a better job running the government? Somebody explain that to me. That's like hiring me to be a surgeon because they're all idiots. I can do better than them.
Well, I don't know.
How does this make any sense?
I'm not big on running government or government in general, but I mean,
well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I understand that. But at the same time, you got these people that are just all millionaires off being in the government and taking lobbyist money, and they're in there. It's just like as soon as they get in, they're corrupted. Like all these new great people, they've already started changing their stories. They're giving these big speeches, but watch. I hope I'm wrong, but just watch. They're all going to sell us out.
Well, they don't have much choice. Let's put it that way. Especially, I've said this before too. The U.S. House of Representatives have to be elected every 2 years. The campaigning never stops. The fundraising never stops. And if you want to win, you need money. That's the way the system works.
So the system's flawed.
Well, sure it is. It's been severely corrupted and perverted. I mean, just my show last week with WVU, Alpha Soldier, John Nichols. We were talking about the permanent war complex, and that's one of the things that he got across a couple times in 2 hours is that, it's not that everybody goes there to fuck shit up, but you have to play by the rules. The game is what the problem is. Hate the game, not the player.
Yeah. Well, we need to change the set of rules then.
We need to change the game.
That's true. It's just ridiculous. Like, I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican in office. They're all crooked to me. Trump has a special brand of insanity and stupidity that we probably haven't seen maybe ever as far as being that stupid. Like how long did it take him to sign his name?
Well, I mean, there have always been rich idiots, and there always will be. It's just recently where somehow they've gotten the approval or they've manufactured the consent to be in charge of shit that they have absolutely no idea how to run it. None whatsoever. Yeah. I mean, that's just like saying, our all-pro quarterback is out for the season. Outside the stadium, we saw this dude who is doing groundskeeping, and we think he's our next number one quarterback.
Well, I don't think so. Well, I think that would be better, actually. I think what they do now is they're like, oh, our all-star quarterback is out, so let's go find a millionaire or billionaire and just bring him in because he's rich and he could probably do it better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they do. They just have all these rich people running the country, and like most people, the majority of people in the country, regardless of what they think they're going to be next year when they win the lottery, are not rich right now.
Well, I mean, that's the absolute fundamental problem here, though. I just do not understand how people who have kids, who may be unemployed, who have health issues, who just want to live their goddamn lives, how these people can vote for people who have never worked a day in their life and yet have more money than they could earn in 10,000 years. Why do you vote for these people? What commonality? What do they know about what it's like to try and survive in Middle America or Lower America? They know nothing, and they don't care. But these people vote for them.
Man, the poorest people will stand up and go crazy to defend the rich people. Like, if you talk bad about some celebrity or actor, like, how can they make that much? They earned it. They're so great. They're this and that. And then they'll go crazy because I think really deep down, a whole lot of people think this is just, I think someone said it, like, most Americans think they're temporarily embarrassed millionaires or something to that effect. I don't remember the exact quote.
Well, that's a flat-out delusion.
Oh, of course it is, but I'm saying that's the thing. They will defend the richest people and spit on anyone lower than them. And it's disgusting and it's crazy, and I think it's because they all think they're going to be that guy.
Well, I guess if you want to talk from a psychological point of view, yeah, that's failing to accept the reality. And, the world we live in, there's certainly no encouragement to subscribe to reality. especially if you can afford an alternate reality, then by all means, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, the guy in charge of housing is Ben Carson, who's a millionaire. Betsy DeVos, who's an idiot
Who's a billionaire.
billionaire. She's in charge of education, wants everything to be privatized and profit off it. And now we have Rudy Giuliani. Well, not now, but he's the head of cybersecurity. And now we realize, I think these people should have tests. Like Betsy DeVos should have to take some kind of standardized high school test or something that she wouldn't be able to pass guaranteed. Ben Carson should have to live in the projects or someplace, in some kind of government housing so he can see what goes on there instead of just driving through in a limo looking at the poor people and saying, glad I'm not them. And Rudy Giuliani should have to get on the computer and take some real tests about, stop all these infections from coming through. Do something. Show us how you would do this. They just throw anybody in these positions, man. They don't care. So it's not that shocking that the guy doesn't even know what a hyperlink is.
Well, I mean, this isn't unique either. I mean, it was just a few weeks ago that the so-called Minister of Cyber Systems in Japan, is computer illiterate. In Japan!
I know, that's crazy.
We're not talking in Togo.
Japan people pride themselves on being educated, unlike this country here.
But, like when we talked about that guy came up the old way. He put in his 30, 40 years with the party, and he's going to have that top-level job before he either drops dead or retires. That's the way it still works there. But now in the United States, you can just buy your way to the front of the line.
Yeah, it's just insane, man. It's although I'm gonna say whoever that guy is that did they put his name out, I don't remember who did who saw Giuliani's tweet and bought the site real quick. Classic. It says Donald Trump is a traitor to America, and then it has upcoming news from the investigations on him at the bottom. But Giuliani thought somebody from Twitter had hacked him or something.
I don't know what that bad trip was all about, man. I mean, there's something wrong with these people. I mean, I don't understand how you can't comprehend at the same time that you have a name, you have some authority given to you, you represent something, and then something happens that you don't understand, and what's the first thing you do? Is you tell the world that you don't understand what's going on. And then these people wonder why they get shit on. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm wondering if that's showing Giuliani as weak in Trump's eyes, and he's either going to get fired or sent back to Europe to hide again.
No, I think everybody's temporary in this administration anyway.
Yeah. Temporarily embarrassed millionaires. That's what I was looking for. That's what most people in this country think of themselves. They're just a millionaire who's temporarily embarrassed, and pretty soon they'll be back up to, well, not back up, but they'll be a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to be rich. Everyone has the next idea. Everyone's going to be the next singing sensation actor or inventor or lottery recipient or something. Everyone. They're all going to be rich. Give up on it.
300 million armies of one. Yeah, right on.
Yeah, I think the best thing we can do is, everybody grab chainsaws, get in the street, and go to a rich person's house. Eliminate the rich. We don't need them. They don't help us. They're not here for us. They don't even pay taxes and contribute. They don't even contribute to society like the rest of the poor people pay more in taxes than the rich people. And I mean, percentage-wise. You know what I mean? Yep. I don't mean more. Yeah, I think the more you make, the more you should be taxed. That's how it should work. But it doesn't seem to work like that here. The more you make, the less you get taxed. The less you make, the more you get taxed. You'd be surprised, Glenn, at the things these rich people get for free.
Oh, I know it. And again, this is something that has been allowed to happen.
Well, we got to disallow it. We got to stop it from happening. Like I said, people need to be disgusted by these rich people. Instead of trying to emulate them and spend every dollar they have trying to look like they're rich even when they're not, by buying cars they can't afford, living above their means, they need to say we don't need all this material stuff. We need to eliminate the rich people. Imagine if all that money came back to the workers and into the economy that these people are hoarding.
But that's not what they're paying for.
I mean, I think I've said it before, I think on this show, maybe Tommy Mottola years ago, they did an interview with him when he got $100 million bonus. And they're like, what are you going to do with this? Is a music executive, by the way, an old school music executive. What are you going to do with the bonus? He goes, it's going to sit there and collect dust with the rest of my millions.
Yeah.
Why? Why not just kick it down to the people that need it? I mean, you got homeless and you got people starving and people can't afford to pay for medication to stay alive. And you're hoarding 100 million, 200 million, billions of dollars, these people, man. It's disgusting. It really, really is. And they don't even pay their fair share.
Well, they're allowed to.
Yeah, well, we as the common people need to look at it in perspective instead of saying, oh, let's bow down and worship these people because they were born with a bunch of money or because they were the lucky one out of billions. We need to look at them with a skeptical eye and say, I don't trust these people. These people are not me. These people do not represent me. And we need to eliminate these people. We need to take their wealth and give it back to the people they stole it from. Because nobody's a billionaire without exploiting a whole lot of people along the way. Just how it works.
Yeah, well, this sounds to me like that this would require people who could think that through, because there's way too many people that are more concerned about calling the 1-900 number to vote on Idle than decide what their kids are taught in school, that decide what the police force where they live does and how much money and weapons they have. I mean, what you're looking for is people who aren't American.
Wait. People pay to call and vote for a television show?
If it's a 1-900 number, they do. You bet they do.
It's ridiculous. Don't they have like online voting or something? I mean, don't these people that are spending whatever the amount of money is per call know that they get paid on advertising? They get paid on so many other things. The call, like, why would you pay? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Because that's input that motivates people. People are more motivated to vote for fucking Idle than they are for the President of the United States. That's what's wrong.
Yeah. I guess they got more better options on Idle, though.
Oh, fuck, please. Kelly Clarkson won, okay? That's all I have to say about that.
I mean, at least you have, how many people are on the Idle? I don't know, maybe 10 or 5 or whatever. How many of them are fascists? We get 2 fascists we get to vote. Two corporate-loving, hateful, warmongering fascists. That's our choice every 4 years. One might be less of a fascist, less of a warmonger, so that's what we choose, the lesser of 2 evils. That's what we do.
But that's not a surprise that that's who your choices are, because over time, that's what you've allowed the choices to become.
Yeah. People suck. That's why they don't want us educated.
Fucking rights, man. People suck. Big time.
Yeah.
I used to have a t-shirt that said that.
Did it have big time on it, or does people suck?
No, just people suck. That's it.
Because it'd be funny if you have the back, you point to the front, people suck, turn around, your back says big time.
No.
Dangerous tangents. Oh, I just saw Canadian Glenn tweeted in here. Who's that guy?
No, that's a shirt that I couldn't wear to work.
People suck?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I can kind of understand it.
Did you work around people?
Sometimes.
Oh, see, yeah, if you work in a pet store, it's easier. I don't work in a pet store, but if I did, it'd probably be awesome. Not really. I don't like animals in cages. But anyway, we're on super
Yeah,
tangents.
if it was if People Suck was in a chat bubble from a cat or something, then oh yeah, fuck, you can make $1 million.
Yeah, Olive here thinks.
See, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. You just have to bend your message 2 degrees and put some sort of societal icon connected with it. You know, so you can say people suck and make $1 million. Just make it look like Kitty said it.
Is that what it is?
And you're set, man. What a country.
What a country. At least you don't have to live in it. You guys have your own problems, though, I noticed.
Yeah, we're close enough. Don't worry. I mean, I've said it before. One of our best prime ministers ever said living next to the United States, having a 5,000-kilometer border with them, sleeping with an elephant.
Pretty close, pretty close. So anything else about the Trump's stupidity on all his trips and being laughed by world leaders, or how
it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse.
Well, what do you
remember? Don't you remember for years the way Gaddafi would show up and he'd be just so like, what fucking planet is this guy on? Like he had a security detail of nothing but women who would dress in tight clothes and shit like that. I mean, Trump would love to do that.
It's very Lex Luthor-ish.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, and Saddam. I mean, for years there have been crackpots like this, but they were always painted in the U.S., unless they were the U.S.'s friend. You know, like, look at this guy, man. Look at this. This is the leader of their country. How can we respect them? Well, guess what the rest of the world's doing now, America? The same damn thing.
Yeah. This guy is a joke.
He is a joke.
I just don't know why he doesn't see it. I just don't get it. Like.
Well,
he has that stupid look, that stupid trying to look all tough guy look with his chin all up and looking angry all the time.
Because he is angry all the time. Because his shit ain't working. You know? There's these courts and stuff. Where did this come from? Nobody told me about this. Idiot. Fuck. But, you know, hey, whatever. You know, it's I still say it's sad but true. People get the government they deserve.
Well, we've been deserving the worst for a long since the beginning of this country. It's you know what? It's just the media now and the social media that you're seeing everything the guy does. Trump's a joke. He's probably the dumbest president in the history of this country. I'm not sure. There might have been one dumber than him, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But he's not the most evil. He's not the most violent. You know, we've had horrible, horrible people since day one.
That's because he's not smart enough to be the most evil. He's just a fucking clown who's in it for himself.
I mean, I thought if our military really wanted to fight for our freedom, they would have bombed Bush's funeral. I mean, I felt bad Jimmy Carter would have to be the guy they gave up, but, you know, like, oh, poor Jimmy Carter. But all those bad people are dead, and Jimmy Carter just had to go because he was there.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, too. I mean, everybody around the world understands that when a former U.S. president dies, you know what's going to happen, you know? We've lost a god. You know, I mean, whatever. The world knows this is going to happen. But everybody expects, you know, we're not going to talk about truth because that's simply not an option. So it's going to be a classy event, you know? It will be something worthy of a U.S. president because the U.S. is the U.S., right? And when you could have Carter and the Clintons and the W's who can all sit there and be civilized and chat with each other. I mean, they're all on the same fucking team anyway, but you know what I'm saying. You know, they could behave like they had class. And then you look at the pumpkin. Like,
dude, he was classic. I know. First of all, let me say, nice switch to transition of topics. I like that, Glenn. But it was so funny. The dude walks in with this little stupid, angry look on his face, and he has some soldier dude standing there, like the usher. He hands him his jacket, like, "Take this, you little bitch."
yep.
Like, what is he? He just thinks the whole world is here for him. Like, everyone's his personal Jerome. Well, I mean, speaking of Morris Day and the time, like, here's my jacket, hold my mirror, do whatever I want. It's so funny.
Yep, exactly. And, you know, like, even if there have been some state funerals where, like, the Queen of England shows up or the Pope, even those people, when they go to somebody else's funeral, it's not about them. This clown can't even figure that out.
Yeah, reports are, I know we were talking before the show, reports are that he's angry that the last few days the news stories have been about Bush and not him. Like, he should be happy that the news is never good about this idiot. But here's the thing. This is the actual topic. So why does this, when we have like George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush and all the Bushes, and this guy's a terrorist. He's a warmonger. He's part of the reason crack cocaine was spread across the United States and destroyed generations of black people's families and lives, and other poor people as well. But it was targeted toward one group. He's killed. I mean, think how many people overseas have died under these people. Millions. How many people have been locked up unjustly for small things and never get out, and what a hero, what a great man he was. And it's so sad to see these people go. Not to mention we just found out, what was he, every time he takes a picture with a woman, he grabs on her, sexually assaults her. Like, these are horrible people. But now he's a great man because he's dead. Why does things change? The Democrats hated him the day before. They had nothing good to say about him. The media usually, depending on which media, they'll tell you George Bush is a horrible, horrible person. But the day he dies, all of a sudden, he's the greatest man, such a hero, and all this and that.
Because the game changes when they actually die. That's when a lot of people will actually turn shit on to see what's happening. So, just like when a regular person dies, what do people talk about? They talk about their life, their history.
But this guy's life and history, he should have died in prison.
No. Wait a minute. You gotta let me expand.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because that's all the average person is, It's about their life, their family, their friends. When a president dies, it's about the country. So if you want to start bringing up truths, that means you're changing the history of the United States. And that's just not going to happen. Because say Uncle Bob dies. Well, rumor was that 35 years ago, Uncle Bob grabbed your cousin's ass. But, nobody ever said anything. Now he's dead. Who's going to bring it up? And that changes everything forever about Uncle Bob. So if you're going to start doing that about a U.S. president, that causes a real problem in the time continuum for the United States. What we get away with in the past, we got away with it. when we could actually bring up the truth and change what popular history is? No, we don't do that. Notice when people like Saddam finally get taken down, or Noriega, or Mubarak in Egypt, then it's, oh yeah, well, we knew. Yeah, they were our friend, but we knew that, these guys are bad news. That, that's allowed because it works for the narrative. But no, there will never be a death of a president. And the American media will say, thank God that son of a bitch is dead. That will never, ever happen. Doesn't matter what they do. It will never happen because it tarnishes the country.
Yeah, I think the whole first 2 or 3 rows of that stupid joke of a funeral, all those people should be in prison, surrounded by pictures of all these dead people in different countries that they murdered, like Iraq, Afghanistan, all over the world. Just surrounded by pictures of these people the rest of their lives, by themselves. Get an hour of daylight a day, maybe, if they're lucky. These are horrible. These people are terrorists. And every time they die, they talk about how great they are, how great. I don't know. I just don't get it. And some of them just seem to live forever. Look at Dick Cheney. When is that dude gonna die? I've been waiting.
He's already dead. He doesn't have a pulse, man.
Yeah, it's like, how long is Dick Cheney gonna stay alive? Man, little evil jerk. He's so horrible. That dude's. Oh my goodness. It's I don't know. Little Bush. They seem to love him now. He's such a great guy.
Yeah, well, don't forget that people like Dick Cheney and Henry Kissinger don't travel outside the United States anymore. So
they're both war criminals. They're very similar, both of those guys.
That's right, and that's why they don't. And back in the Clinton era, and even the Obama era, because of the image that is portrayed, the thicker velvet that's put in front of the iron fist when people like that are president, that changes tolerance levels around the world for the United States. And you put a fucking boor in charge like Trump, people lose respect pretty fast, and that changes a lot of things. It makes international travel for Americans more dangerous when you have somebody like Trump as president instead of Obama. I don't know why Americans don't understand that. It's plain as day to somebody who's not an American. I mean, I've met Americans when Obama was president, usually good people. It's like, yeah, Obama, yeah, you guys are killing people everywhere, but at least you're not, like being really fucking reckless. Well, now, you elected a preschooler.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's hard for Americans to understand just how deep their influence is around the entire fucking world. Well, their government's influence.
I don't know. I just think when George Bush died, there should have been celebrations and cheers and laughter and.
Well, there was in Iraq, but you didn't see him on the news.
No, I mean here. I mean, it should have been here. Like, this horrible, horrible guy is finally gone. We couldn't lock him away.
You wouldn't see it.
What?
Who would show it?
Everyone should show it. It should just be real. And then the next president will act better. They'll be like, oh, I don't want to be talked about like that. Like, if Trump dies, these people are going to, all the Democrats who hate him now, and all these people who say he's such a racist, and be like, well, it wasn't that bad. He had so let's talk about when he was presidential, when he was bombing people, and let's talk about, oh, he was so caring to such and such, or so. They're going to come up with some crap to say how great he was. It doesn't matter who these people are. When Obama dies, they're just going to focus on the good. You know what I mean? Oh, he did something.
No. When Obama dies, they'll still focus on that he was black. Don't worry.
Yeah, that seems to be all they seem to know.
Well, that tells you who's in charge, doesn't it?
I mean, that's
Yeah,
like there's so many horrible things you could say about Obama,
that's right.
about policy and everything, but he's black. That black president. We have a half black president. We can't live with it. It's ridiculous. He was a
But
war
you know,
criminal too. Why don't you talk about that if you're going to hate on somebody? Hate them for valid reasons. That's no different than me. The other
yeah,
ones
but
are all white.
that's just not in the American tool set. You guys just don't judge your presidents objectively. It's all about team or some specific personal factor, But the rest of the world doesn't judge them like that. The rest of the world judges a U.S. president by what the U.S. government does when they're president,
As they should.
as they
Especially,
should.
yeah.
But the thing about Obama was, like I said, he was killing people all over the world. It took Trump to break his drone rate record, but at least he didn't go to world conferences and say something really, really stupid. He didn't make threats to the world on Twitter. These are the
Yeah.
things that are I just don't think Americans get it. How insane the United States looks to a lot of the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, Obama was smart and he had, he knew how to act right. That's the difference.
Oh, yeah.
He was still evil. Oh, Lowe's Cart is in the chat. Hello, Lowe's Cart. So yeah, it was I don't know. I don't know. It just, yeah. Obama's really good at looking like a great person. Like I've said before, you look at the Obama family and the Trump family, which one would you think, oh, I could actually, these people seem like decent people that I could, go to dinner with or be around them. You wouldn't want to be anywhere around the Trumps. They're disgusting looking. They look weird. They're not normal. I mean, Obama looked like a great family, even though they're murderers and war criminals and terrible people. They don't look the part. Trump looks the part. He's like, I'm evil. He is the perfect face for the front man of this country. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, Trump
Well,
looks like the United States of America.
Well, again, we get back to that thing about people get the government they deserve. And yeah, there are a lot of people in different parts of the world that say that, that Trump is the perfect embodiment of what the United States is these days.
Always has been. Genocide, slavery, horrific policies, I mean, just brutalizing
Fine,
people that aren't white nonstop for how many hundreds of years. That Trump looks
fine,
great.
fine people on both sides.
Yeah. It's just it's wow, So that is one thing. Trump looks like the United States, whereas Obama and I didn't really like Clinton. Looked disgusting to me too, but whatever. I mean, Carter. Carter was probably the best person in that whole room as far as the ex-presidents and ex.
And history views him as the weakest one of the whole bunch.
But what's wrong with? I mean, it's not weak to not kill everybody. That's the easy thing. You get paid, and your people. It's more. Don't you
It's
think
not it's not the American thing.
But standing up against what's expected seems better. Like, I'm not going to kill everybody. I'm not going to let all this terrible stuff happen under my watch as much as I can stop it. I mean, Reagan played him coming in. Reagan took credit for a lot of Carter's work coming in with freeing the hostages and all kinds of stuff. Carter didn't even bring it up for 20 years or something afterwards. He should have been like, this actor is lying to you. He screwed up California. He's going to screw up our country. He's going to start something you're not going to be able to stop, but he didn't. So Carter's guilty too. He should have said something.
But even by that time, who would, for the longest time after Reagan got in, nobody gave a shit what Carter had to say.
Because that actor's in. He can act. He can read scripts right. He can smile. People
Well,
like the guy.
yeah, but don't forget, that same time as Thatcher, and that's when this whole neoliberal bullshit cycle started. For real.
But if you know the history of California, you know Reagan and his racist policies and his
Yeah.
horrible, horrible things he's done here. You know, people should have paid attention back then. I don't know what was wrong with these people. Vote for this guy.
Yeah, well, the difference was, though, in the 70s in California, the demographics were a lot different than they are now. And Reagan could get away with that shit back then.
That's true. That's very, very true.
I mean, I've got a real fucking Yahoo uncle who lived in California in the 1970s, and he thought Reagan was just fucking great. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, I can see that. You're a white male with an IQ under 100. Yeah, I could see where you'd be a real Reagan fan. You know? So...
Oh, this is off subject, but okay, so you're not going to lock up all these presidents. Why isn't Oliver North locked away forever? Why is he allowed to be the head of the NRA spewing racist hate speech? The dude's a gun runner I mean, he's a horrible, horrible person. He's a criminal. He's an arch criminal. Like, they don't lock up anybody, man, unless you're poor.
Well, yeah. I mean, Oliver North took the fall for something that was impeachable. So, of course he's gonna, get a gig later.
Yeah, he shouldn't, though. Like,
Well,
at least
I know
if
he
you're the fall
shouldn't,
guy,
but...
stay locked up. Stay away forever. We don't want you back.
No, you see, only people like Bernie Madoff will ever do time until they die because they ripped off rich people.
Yeah. You're robbing rich people. That's what gets you screwed up if you're rich.
Exactly. And see, Oliver North was only conspiring to kill Iranians by killing, people in Central America. So that's whatever. That's not an issue.
I got to say this. I know if Nolan was here, he'd bring this up right now, probably. I hope I'm not wrong, but I hope you feel better, Nolan. I know you're not here today because of issues, but he would definitely say that Kevin Cooper, who's falsely accused of murder on death row, would say all the time that when you're on death row in prison, he sees all kinds of people, white people, black people, every kind of person, but there's one kind of person he doesn't see. Everyone has in common that they're poor. He never sees rich people on death row.
Yep.
Never, ever, ever. That should tell you something right there about this society.
Yep.
These people get away literally with murder, literally with every kind of theft of the poor people you can imagine, and they'll never go to prison. They're hailed as heroes when they die. But yeah, if you don't have the money for a great defense, you're going to get locked away. Maybe falsely charged with stuff.
Well, the thing is, you have to recognize as well, is that people with a lot of money, they likely never get fucking charged, never mind win in court.
Yeah, that's true. But they can pay for the best lawyers to get off of whatever. I mean, the legal system.
If they have to, they can just pay off the cops.
Well, that's true too. But the legal system here is a joke. It's like the medical system is a joke. You want to stay alive, you better be able to afford it.
Well, the problem is it's the American ideal. Everything is now a racket. Nothing is actually a service. Everything's about generating revenue. It's not about results.
Yeah, you people listening, let's get together and just take this back from these corporations and these billionaires. It's not that hard. We got lots of weapons in the United States. We might as well use them for good, right? Oh no, it's to the point where I think revolution is the only option. Like, there's nothing else we can do. These democratic socialists, quote unquote, they're not going to do anything for us. They're going to sell out in a few years. They're going to be like Bernie Sanders, running around screaming a whole bunch of good stuff and voting against everything you believe in, quote unquote. We are tangenting all over, Glenn, and that's what we do best here. It's funny when I actually am reading the chat. Sometimes I have the other window open and I don't see the chat for a while. Yeah.
But I mean, it's not specific to Bush 41. We saw it with McCain. It doesn't matter who it is.
I mean, we see it with Washington, Lincoln, Jefferson, all the way on up. Every president who these people are, some of them are slave owners. We say, oh, they're great people. They're founding fathers. Why don't we say they're slave owners? Why don't we call them murdering slave owners, warmongers, war criminals, people who slaughtered a bunch of native people? You know what I mean?
Because that's not the official narrative. Like, we've got textbooks, man. We have to change everything. Cut it out.
Lincoln was a genocidal maniac, too. Why does everyone think he's so great? Because he's on a penny and a $5 bill? What does that mean?
It means follow the script. This is a dress rehearsal. Don't fuck up.
I don't know. This seems to me like that would be like Germany saying Hitler's great, or
hey, there. Well, you know,
I would say Turkey saying Otto Turk is great or whatever, but I'm pretty sure they still do.
Yes, they do.
That's why I paused for a second. I was like, that's not going to be a valid.
Erdogan wants to be the next Ataturk.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't forget, Germany is the only country in the world where it's actually like you go to prison if you show any Nazi symbolism.
That's how it should be.
I know, but it's only there. And you know why, because that's where it came from. So, I mean, they don't have much choice. It's just like certain laws in Japan you're not going to find hardly anywhere else because of their past.
But we don't do that. We celebrate our atrocities.
That's called being the winner.
I see.
That's all that is, man.
I should have thought of that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't hear much celebration about 1812 in the U.S., do you?
Yeah, that's true. Man, it's just stupid, man. When bad people die, call them bad people. Don't change history and rewrite history to make them seem great. Because then you're going to have another bad person saying, hey, when I die, they'll still say I'm good no matter what I do.
Well, see, the only people you're probably going to hear that about are guys like Joe Lieberman and Bernie Sanders, because they've been around forever and they were independents. So they're not on anybody's team. So, yeah, we can tell the truth about those fuckers.
Yeah, but they side with the Democrats.
But, you know, even the Democrats will say, hey, whatever, independent. He was an asshole.
Yeah.
You know? That's the thing, man. It's all about team.
Only two teams.
Well, except when something happens where a national politician dies, then there's one team.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Love it or leave it.
Yeah, it's just so funny to see these people that hate Trump talking about how great George H.W. Bush was. And it was funny at first to see him talking about little Bush, George W. Talking about, oh, he's not the dumbest president ever. Maybe he's cool. Let's start putting him on talk shows and, you know, doing cool things and making him cool. Why? He's a horrible, horrible, horrible war criminal.
He was someone who is selected to fill a role, which he did.
To Lowe's car, yeah, shoot Nazis. I agree. That's what should happen. Romanian or not. The only good Nazi is a dead Nazi. I've said that many times on this show. So yeah, that's the last topic, right? We're through it.
Yep.
Did anything happen in with Mueller today, or is that just a fantasy people are having?
I don't know. No idea. I mean, you know, this. I'm insulate myself from the American circus as much as I can on social media. I mean, all the word bans, permanent word bans from my Twitter timeline are all like Trump, GOP. Like, that's like, I don't care, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't care either if I was Canadian unless they crossed the border. Yeah,
Exactly.
prosecutors say ex-Trump lawyer Michael Cohen deserves substantial prison sentence. Good.
Okay.
Like, who cares? Lock them all up. Uh, like I said, I think those first 2 or 3 rows at that funeral should have all been in prison forever. Forever.
See
Forever,
now,
ever, 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 ever.
see now, this is another issue because every one of those people in those 3 rows definitely have broken laws. But the issue is, even if it was the other team they had to deal with, they still didn't really screw them over. Because when they got out, if there's actual desire, I don't see why any newly elected Congress couldn't start prosecuting the shit out of the people who they just beat out. They could. They have that power, and I'm sure if they wanted to, they could find what they needed to get their asses in jail.
They don't want to, though.
Exactly. But now we have something like the Trump administration, who are screwing as many people as they possibly can. There's going to be some blowback. Like this shit ain't going to fade in the Beltway. You can't come into that China shop and behave like this and not expect there to be blowback down the road.
Yeah.
It could be fast. It could be next year already, or it could be 4 years from now, or 10. Who knows? I mean, look how long it took for Whitewater to ever show up. I mean...
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing I do agree with Trump on. Lock her up, lock the Clintons up. But I think he should be locked up right along with them. And the Bushes and a lot of other people, like we keep saying. So, yeah, I don't know. Anything else you wanna say before we go?
Today's show was brought to you by a combination of Purple God and Hawaiian Kush.
I forgot what I had. I don't have it with me to remember. Oh, no. I'm trying to remember. Purple Tangy. Purple Tangy.
There you go.
There it is. So, yeah.
And the Pope.
Oh, yeah, the Pope's always our listener, and I'm a little bit disappointed you got these priests, 60 more priests. We're not going to get into that today, but 60 more pedophile priests have been caught, and half of them are already dead by the time this came out. And the Catholic Church once again covered them all up for all these years. Why I hate religion. Reason number 10,892.
Agreed.
You hope they shoot Trump so you can get your visa and visit some people in the U.S. They'll just have another evil person follow him up from one of the 2 evil parties we have.
Well, I mean, that's always something to, perhaps hope for if you're so inclined. The crazier Trump gets in public, maybe the sooner he'll just not get up one day.
Yeah, and when you do come to the U.S., watch out. We still got these killer cops all over the place, ready to kill anybody that looks at them wrong. So, hope your skin's pretty light. Yeah, so, like we said before, Music to Riot 2 is coming Sunday or Monday. It's going to be just a music mix, no talking, no. I mean, it'll have speeches, revolutionary speeches mixed into the music, but it won't be us talking or me talking or anything like that. And first one's really West Coast, a couple East Coast songs, but it's going to be nice. And Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. The View Up Here. One of the best shows on the internet today or anywhere else.
Says you.
Oh, they're going to come here wearing a George Bush skid mask. That should do the trick. I agree. You might even get Secret Service running around protecting you. Good luck with that. Let us know how it works out.
Should get free donuts.
Free donuts from the pigs. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Thank you, Glenn, as always. And if you're listening, Nolan, please get better and come back to us. We miss you.
Yep.
And we need more tangents with Nolan. So thanks again. We'll see you guys next week.